Hello and welcome to a book launch live cast. Today I have a very special guest, someone I now consider a friend, and interestingly enough lives only about an hour from me, which is really unusual for us with our clients who are absolutely everywhere. To have a client that's even semi-local is a rare pleasure. So I will be bringing on Kyle Campbell, and we're going to be talking about his book, Beyond Belief: How Living with a Brainstem Tumor Brought Faith and Purpose to Life. And I'll be bringing him on in just a moment. Now, here at Ignite Press, we specialize in helping people bring their messages to the world. Our goal is to help be that conduit, to help that message come out and impact other people's lives. If you have a book that you're working on, a book that you're dreaming about, or maybe one that's already written and you'd like to see it published to the world, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And you can do that through our website, ignitepress.us. That is ignitepress.us. And you can schedule a book consultation with us there. So terrific. Enough about that. Let's get to the main event. So Kyle has written this fantastic book, Beyond Belief: How Living with a Brainstem Tumor Brought Faith and Purpose to Life. And he has an incredible story. So I'm going to bring him on to tell it. All right. Kyle, it is great to see you this morning.
Thank you, Everett. Good morning. It's great to see you as well.
Now, by the way, just for everybody else, for two things here. If you've got any comments, please put comments in the chat. And I will bring any questions to Kyle and he can answer them in real time. And then the second is, in a stroke of incredibly bad timing, Kyle lost his voice yesterday. Um, and I don't know if it was the excitement of the book launch and talking about his book, but he lost his voice yesterday. And Kyle will be the first to tell you that from a young age, his speech has been different than other people's speech. So complicate that with the poor guy losing his voice yesterday. It makes it for interesting times. But Kyle, today is your book launch day.
Today,
How are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm really excited to see all of the support and excitement around this book. Um, it's been a very long process. It started a year ago. I started writing 10 years ago, and then I stopped because I didn't know what to do with what I wrote. Um, And then I remember last November, 1 year ago, God saying to me, "Okay, Kyle, it's time to write your book." Uh, and I was busy doing all kinds of things at the time, um, working full time, teaching 2 classes on top of that. I have a 4 year old and a 2 year old boy, both boys at home, and my wife is pregnant and being a full time daddy, um, and I just kind of said, "Okay, God, I'm ready to write this book." Um, so every lunch break at work, um, late at night, I've been on my computer typing. Thank you to my wife for your patience with me and your support in this project. But this has been a long time coming. Um, and never, like I was telling you, I never imagined the reaction or the response to this book. I just knew I had to write it and finish it. Um, and now that it's finally done and people are seeing it and talking about it, um, and it's amazing to see what God is doing with this story.
Well, let's do this. I think people watching this, a lot of them won't know your story. They won't
Yeah.
know why it's so important for you to write this book and get it out there. So let's back up to share your story. I'm not sure if it begins at 5. I just know that's a really key point. So why don't you take
Absolutely.
us back there and tell us your story?
Absolutely. My story begins at 3. I burned my left hand in a fireplace really bad. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, yeah, it's right there. I almost lost a couple of fingers. So I was in the burn unit in Fresno when I was 30, and for a while. Anyways, I kept all my fingers. Thank you, doctors. Um, but shortly after that, my parents started noticing developmental things about me that were a little bit behind or different, like my speech, for example. Um, and they took me to a doctor, and first doctor said, "Oh, he's okay. Give him time, and he'll be fine." Um, and my parents were like, "I don't know about that." So they took me to a different doctor, and um, after doing a few things with me, recommended I get an MRI, which is a magnetic resonance image. It's how they take pictures of the inside of your body and look for things. So I had an MRI of my brain, and when I was 5, they found something there. They found um, a brainstem tumor. It's a glioma. Is the technical diagnosis. Um, and gliomas and brainstem gliomas in kids can possibly be not the best news. Um, and that's my polite way of saying not good news. Um, and so my one doctor told my mom the prognosis for your son is not good. And my mom, my parents went to a different doctor, um, who was, a little bit more positive about the situation. And he was my doctor, my neurosurgeon for 25 years. Um, and he said, you know, another patient I have who has the same thing, he's now married, has kids. Another one is going to college. And just those examples of what could happen gave my parents hope. And they said, okay, that's all we need to be okay. Um, and so I had this thing in my brainstem. And a brainstem, for those of you who don't know, the adult brainstem is about the size of your thumb, a little bit bigger. Um, and so your brain sends all kinds of messages through your brainstem down to your spine and your body about how to do different things. Um, so your brainstem, our brainstems control things, um, daily living things that we don't need to think about, like breathing, swallowing, walking, talking, vision, and so many more things. Um, and I had this growth, this tumor on my brainstem. And so the doctor said, okay, let's just watch and see what happens. If we do surgery right now, it might not be good. We might poke something really important and cause more damage. So let's just watch. And I had lots of MRIs to see what it was doing. Um, and so as my tumor was slowly growing, um, I had symptoms, um, things like nausea, the incredible in a bad way, dizziness. Um, I was skinny and weak and tired, and I didn't feel good sometimes. I would go to bed um, thinking, I wonder how sick I'm going to be in the morning tomorrow. Um, and it just, I still had a great time, I had a great family, and we did amazing things together, made the absolute best of it. Um, but there were challenges, for sure. And when I was 14, I had radiation, which ended up shrinking the brainstem tumor about halfway, which was huge. So a lot of my symptoms went away, and I still have some to this day. I still have my brain stem tumor. I have a picture of it in the book, um, but it's apparent. You might be able to see it in my face. My left side, it doesn't react as much as my right side. My my balance is a little bit off. My speech is a little bit off, and now I have a new symptom, my vision. So without my glasses, I have double vision. So I see two of things. Um, and that it came up recently, and I went to the doctor and I said, does this happen? What's going on here? And after seeing brainstem tumor on my report and radiation, the he was a neuro-ophthalmologist, which I didn't even know existed, and he said, "Oh, this double vision is probably due to the radiation you had 20 years ago." Um, and there's things still happening, which is why I call it living with. It's not something that I experienced in my past. It's
Yep.
something that is still going on.
Yep.
Um, and thank God it's not like it used to be. But we adjust as we need to.
Well, and so your story starts really when you were 3 with that injury, and then 5 with the diagnosis.
Hmm.
I was looking up some of the statistics on survival with glioma, and it was pretty evident that 5 years was the outside. And here's what I love. Right, your parents were given this image of, hey, you know what? This doesn't mean that Kyle's gonna die, at a young age, and this whole image of, hey, I know someone who's got this, and they've got kids, they've got grown kids, and
Hmm.
now here you are, Kyle. You're Tell people what you do now. Tell people what you've accomplished and what you do now in your life.
It's amazing, Everett. Thank you. So now I have um, a family. I've been married about 7 years. It's my wonderful wife, Lori, who's I believe she's watching this. Hi, honey. Um, we have a 4-year-old boy. We have a 2-year-old boy, 4 and 2, and then we have one more boy on the way, due in January. Um, so we're gonna have 3 boys, which is amazing and so much fun, crazy, but definitely worth it and awesome. Um, and I have a dog. I don't know if you hear her barking outside right now. Um, but I'm 34, so I've made it 30 years, and still going strong. Um, I have um, I went to Campbell University and got my bachelor's in philosophy. Um, I went to Frisco State and got a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling, and um, and ended with certificate as a CRC, or a certified rehabilitation counselor. Um, and what's funny about that is I didn't really even know what rehabilitation counseling was until I was in school in the program. Um, but they paid my tuition and they gave me a stipend to come to Fresno State. So of course I did, and I loved that it's counseling. It's helping people with a focus on people with disabilities and people with barriers, that maybe they're not in control of, which that's me, that's what I've been doing. Um, that's what everyone around me has been doing. Um, and so now I work at a community college here in Visalia, College of the Sequoias, and I work in the Access and Ability Center, helping students with and without various disabilities or just just barriers to what they want to do. And I help them navigate college and how to do different things and really just problem solving, um, and being patient, which is a wonderful thing. I might talk about that more. Um, and I also have the opportunity, the privilege to teach a few classes on top of that, um, which is so much fun.
It's really incredible what you're doing. So, Kyle, your story, you you went through some incredibly tough times, your family as well. But your story isn't just about what you went through. It's about where you've come. What you've come to, and
Hmm.
about triumph. And the triumph isn't just a triumph of a physical nature, right? It
That's
isn't
right.
just, hey, I survived this physiological challenge in my life.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, tell us tell us really about this journey that you came onto and where you've come that has caused you to write this book, Beyond Belief.
So the first part and probably about half of the book is about my journey, the medical stuff, some of the school stuff, but the main thing is what it's like living with things I'm not in control of. Um, and I dedicated the book to my family, my mom, dad, and brother, um, because really, I didn't go through this myself. We all did, and my mom, dad did some of the heavy lifting when I was too young to understand or take care. Uh, you know, uh, for a long time, I didn't realize um, the my situation. I didn't realize um, that I had a brainstem tumor, and those don't usually work out well for a lot of people. Um, it was normal to me to be sick and having doctor appointments, but I didn't grasp it. My parents did, and they did a great job of teaching my brother and myself how to be grateful for every situation. So I had that background, that foundation as I went to college, and I chose to major in philosophy because I had studied 1 week of philosophy. I had 1 week of it in high school, AP English, and I thought, wow, philosophy is fun. It was, Plato's allegory of the cave, and things are not always what they appear to us to be. And I thought that was amazing. So I got a major in philosophy, and, um, I got really into how we know things and understanding different things. And I'm not embarrassed, but a little ashamed. I regret it, um, thinking that I knew better than people. I understood more than other people because of my training. Um, and I realized, after studying knowledge, what they call epistemology, the philosophy of knowledge, um, after getting into that, I realized, oh, I don't know things for certain. I just kind of believe a whole bunch of things. And I know some things, but a lot of things, it would be remiss for me to say I know better than anyone. And I realized I didn't. Um, my wife jokes with me, and I joke too, that um, when I studied philosophy, I came out knowing less than I did when I went in. Uh, I felt like I understood so much more, but really it made me humble because I thought, oh, I don't know better than anyone else. Um, I'm doing the best I can with my understanding and rationality and biological processes. Um, but it, I don't know things for sure.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened me up to faith and belief in things. I had always been a Christian, always believed in God because it made rational sense um, to me. Um, and that was never a question, but to fully jump into it, um, that was something new that I did. And I remember I was reading the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. I don't know if any of you have read Ecclesiastes, but I remember sitting there with my Bible on my desk thinking, okay, this Bible isn't speaking to me. I know a lot of people have said that it does and that it's amazing, but I don't get it. Um, it's never clicked for me. So I kept reading my Bible thinking, okay, there's got to be something in here that makes sense to me. Um, and when I read Ecclesiastes, it started off by saying that the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom is meaningless. And I thought, what? Like, I've been doing that, and if it's meaningless, excuse my language, but what the hey, ninny, ninny, Uh, and so I was excited to read more, and I got more into it, and everything started clicking to me. Um, and it was great. And so I had this epiphany, sorry, that things did make sense, even though they didn't at first. And through my history with the brainstem tumor and my symptoms and my philosophy background and just everything all together, um, it created this testimony that I just had to share. Um, I just had to. God told me, this is a very special story that not many people have. Um, and I'm, call myself a preacher, but I am not, as eloquently spoken as some. I don't know as much Bible history as some, but I do know this message has been meaningful for me, and I need to share it if in case it's meaningful to someone else too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, bring up a comment here. Elizabeth wrote, "Thank you for sharing your story. Congratulations on your book launch. I'm looking forward to reading the Kindle copy I purchased earlier today." On that note, I would be remiss if I did not do this. Please go ahead and pick up your copy of Beyond Belief at Amazon today. You can get the paperback there. The Kindle is actually on a special launch price of 99 cents. And so I would encourage you to pick that up and to support Kyle's launch in the process of doing that. So, all right. So Kyle, I know one thing is that your faith is really important to you, and from our early conversations about your book, that was really one of the most important reasons that you wanted to share this, was that it wasn't just about triumph over disability or triumph over challenge, but it was this faith journey and an understanding of purpose. What can you share with people? And this is a tough one, but hey, you're a philosophy major, so I can hit you with tough questions. That's like a given. And by the way, I completely resonate with the idea of you go to school to get a philosophy degree and you come out knowing less. Only in the sense that, right, you learned more questions to ask, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
it's the whole thing of discovering more of more of the things you don't know, perhaps. But
Yeah.
um, let's talk about, maybe as a way to sum up our conversation here, purpose. Let's talk about purpose and how that plays out in your story and in your book.
Yeah. For sure. So I love what you said, Everett. Um, this book here, Beyond Belief, it's not just a book about brainstem tumors. It's not just a book about overcoming disability or something like that. It's not just a book about challenge and what someone went through. Um, in some cases, it does have that kind of biography, memoir type feeling to it. Um, and it's about so much more. It's about philosophy, it's about um, belief, it's about connection with people, connection with God. Um, and so, yeah, you mentioned philosophy. I could talk all day, I'm sure, because philosophers have lots of questions, not really answers, but questions. Um, but yeah, you asked about my faith, and so the culmination of all of these different things has been the active faith that I have when I'm experiencing different situations that are common to all of us. Um, and you asked about purpose, and purpose is a tricky thing. I think we all want to find our purpose. We all want to live our purpose. And sometimes we don't know what that is. Um, and so we investigate, we question, we go travel Europe for 2 weeks, we're trying to figure it out. Um, I didn't go to Europe, I went to Scotland instead. But, we have these different experiences that we try and figure out our identity and also what's our purpose? What do we want our life to be all about? Certainly, life is not just about temporary satisfaction, um, but it needs to be about more. So, how can we leave that impact? How can we leave a legacy? How do we live on purpose? And we often look inside ourselves for that answer. It's a deeply personal question, what's my purpose? So we think, oh, okay, it's a personal question, so I need to look in myself. And when we look inside ourselves, we just find more of ourselves. We just find our own thoughts. Um, and I know certainly I looked inside myself for a very long time, and I'm still tempted, and I still do on occasion look within myself, within my own desires, my own beliefs, my own values. Um, and what is important to consider is that if we're talking about purpose and impact, and if we're talking about the legacy that we want to leave, well, our legacy is going to be here beyond when we're here. It's going to outlive us. So if our legacy is outside of us, we have to not look inside, but we have to look outside. And, you know, other people do not have my purpose. Everett, I'm sorry, You don't have my purpose. Other my friends, they don't have my purpose. They're just like me. We're doing the best we can. Um, but the one who can define my purpose is the one who made me in the beginning, the creator, um, God, who made everything, who sees things through. Um, and so it's been a big, long, varied journey about finding that purpose outside of myself. There's a really old song by Keith Green. I don't know if any of you know Keith Green, but he has a song, Make My Life a Prayer to You, if you want to listen to it. And one of his lyrics is, it was so hard to see when my eyes were on me. You know, when we're just looking at ourselves, we can't see beyond ourselves. So we need to take our eyes away from us and look towards God to see the purpose. And that's kind of what the book is all about. All about.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that and your candor. I wanted to point out for people that in the book, the fourth section of the book actually is all about application, and really about Kyle's message of living beyond belief, and including intentionality and gratefulness, your focus, forgiveness, and super, super valuable. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on the live cast today. Congratulations on your book, on getting this out to the world and sharing your message. I just want to tell you, Kyle, what you've accomplished is something that just a fraction of a percent of people ever accomplish. So many people dream of writing a book. So many people start writing a book. Very few people finish writing a book, and a smaller amount see it published. And so I want to congratulate you on what you've accomplished. And I am so excited, Kyle, for you, because you are going to encounter people who come up to you and just go, I need to share with you, what your book meant to me. And and especially with your message and the way you're helping others. I also hope that this is something that will find its way into use in your professional life, as you're working with other people who are working through some really tough times. So, Kyle, are any last words that you want to share before we kind of sign off on our live cast here?
I'm just so grateful for um, this. You know, when I started this a year ago, and it has been a very uh, in-depth process to do all this, and I never imagined what would happen after this after this came out. Um, and the vision was just to write a book, get it published. Well, not even that, just to write a book. And now it's published and it's in a whole bunch of hands and it's affecting people. It's influencing people in so many powerful and significant ways. And I never thought about that happening. Um, and it's just amazing. Like you said, everyone, people are, someone clicked on the link who lives in France. I don't know anyone in France. Um, a week ago, someone contacted me from Connecticut about the book and about, asking more questions and um, due to a personal nature. And it's just overwhelming. It's amazing. I probably haven't even grasped it yet with the impact this is going to have.
Yeah.
And certainly it wasn't just me who did all of the heavy lifting. Well, maybe the heavy lifting, but I had so much guidance um, from my friends. Andrew, I don't know if Andrew is watching. He's helped a lot. And Everett, of course, the team at Ignite Press. You guys have been amazing. And I thought maybe I could do this my own. Maybe I could just self-publish and figure it out. Um, and you all have made so many great suggestions that I never would have thought of myself, like designing the cover. This is an amazing, amazing cover, better than I would have thought, and just suggestions here and there. So I'm very thankful to you, Everett, and all the guidance from your team. Um, but it's been a collective and collaborative process, and I'm appreciative of everyone who has been on the team with me.
Well, thank you so much. We have absolutely loved working with you, and the work's not done. We still have some more work to do, and we're just in the first day here on launch, and it is exciting. Kyle, thank you again for joining me on the livecast. Thanks for writing the book. Thanks for trusting us with the book. So I will share one more time that if you haven't got it yet, make sure to go get your copy of Beyond Belief at Amazon, where you can get the paperback or the Kindle. The Kindle's on a launch price right now for 99 cents, so I would encourage you to get that. By the way, if you don't typically read Kindle, just know that there is a Kindle app on your phone. There is a Kindle app on every tablet, and also readers available for desktop and laptop computers. So you can read a Kindle literally anywhere. And also you can have the Kindle read the book to you, which is also a joy. Someone had asked if the audio version of the book is available. Right now there's no official plan to do an audio version of the book. That could change, but also you can have the Kindle read it to you by just as a text to speech process. So definitely encourage you to do that. So thank you again for joining us here. And if ever we can help you get your book and message out to the world, just reach out to us through ignitepress.us, where we would be happy to schedule a book consultation and talk with you about your book, your message, and your hopes and dreams and plans for it. Thanks again for joining us here at Ignite Press. Take care and God bless.